Hello and welcome. Today we're jumping right into a part of the justice system that's absolutely fundamental, and guess what? It's just gotten a major update. We're talking about the legal summons. We're going to break down exactly how it all works now under the new Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita of 2023.
So, let me ask you this. How does a court actually get your attention? I can tell you it's not a casual text message or a phone call. Nope, it's a formal, legally binding document. And understanding this process is really crucial for anyone who might have to navigate the legal world. So let's break it all down step by step.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to cover the absolute basics, what a summons even is. Then, we'll get into how it's issued and delivered in a typical situation, and then look at some special cases. We'll also cover what happens when it just can't be delivered. And finally, this is the exciting part. We'll explore all the new tech updates.
Okay, first things first, why should you even care about a summons? Well, think of it as the official starting gun for most legal proceedings. It's the system's way of making sure that everyone involved gets the memo, that they're properly notified and have a fair shot to be heard. At its heart, it's all about fairness and due process, a right that holds up our entire justice system.
So what is a summons really? Well, simply put, it's an official written order that comes directly from a court. It commands a person to show up at a very specific place, on a specific date, at a specific time. And let me be clear, this isn't a suggestion, it's a legal directive. This one document is basically the bedrock of how our courts communicate.
All right, now let's get into the nuts and bolts. How does a summons actually go from being just a piece of paper in a court file to ending up in the hands of the person it's meant for? Let's look at the standard procedure.
The law, and we're talking about sections 63 and 64, or Dhara in Hindi of the BNSS, lays out 4 really clear steps. First, the summons is prepared in duplicate, either the old-fashioned written way or electronically. Second, it has to be legitimized, signed by the judge and stamped with the court's official seal. Third, it has to be delivered personally. And finally, that person signs the second copy as a receipt. That's the proof of delivery.
But, life happens. What about the classic scenario? The police officer or the court official shows up, but the person they need to see just isn't there. Does everything grind to a halt? Absolutely not. The law has a very clear backup plan for this.
So, according to Section 66, if the officer has made a reasonable effort and still can't find the person, the summons can be legally served to any adult member of their family who lives with them. This pretty much guarantees the message gets through, even if the person themselves isn't around.
Now, here's a really fascinating little detail that the law makes a point to clarify. Section 66 explicitly states that a servant is not considered a family member. And that's a crucial distinction, right? It's to make sure that this important legal document is handed to someone with a real personal connection, not just an employee. The law is crystal clear. It has to be family.
Okay, so the standard process covers individuals at home. But what about other situations? What if you need to summon a whole company, or a government employee, or someone living way out in a different city? For these special cases, the rules have to bend a little.
And this table here lays it out perfectly. For a company, you don't serve just anyone. The summons goes to a key officer, like a director or a manager. For a government employee, it's sent through their head of office to make sure it's handled by the book. And if the person is outside the court's jurisdiction, the summons is sent to the local magistrate in that area, and they take care of the delivery. Makes sense, right?
So what happens when every single one of these methods fails? The person can't be found, there's no adult family member around, and none of the special rules apply. Is it a dead end? Nope. The law has one final, last resort option to make sure the summons is considered served.
This is what Section 67 is all about. The serving officer can literally paste a copy of the summons onto a prominent part of the person's last known home. So think of it being stuck right on the front door. After looking into it, the court can then officially declare that the summons has been properly served.
And finally, we get to what I think is the most important update in the BNSS 2023. The law is officially catching up with the times and embracing the digital age. It's integrating modern technology right into the summons process, all to make it faster and way more efficient.
So, what does this look like in the real world? Well, the new code allows a summons to be served through all sorts of modern channels. We're talking everything from secure email to other forms of electronic communication. This is a massive leap forward from relying only on slow and sometimes unreliable physical delivery.
And this is the real game changer, all based on Section 71.
If there's solid proof of electronic delivery, like an email read receipt or a delivery confirmation from a messaging app, the court can legally declare that summons as served. This makes the whole process so much faster and a lot more reliable for the world we live in today. So, this brings us to the million-dollar question. Will all this new tech, the emails, the digital signatures, will it truly streamline our legal system and cut down on those frustrating delays? The legal framework is now in place, which is great, but its actual real-world impact, well, that's something we're all going to be watching very closely. What do you think is going to happen?